Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm going to be talking about another political thing today because another news story about something trans-related broke that I just kind of wanted to talk about. So we're going to be talking about the Supreme Court, Virginia teacher, that whole story. I'm going to kind of give up my thoughts about it, but I also want to try and see both sides of the story. Even though I clearly agree with a certain side. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, if this is your first time checking out one of my videos, I'm Zoe. Hi. I post daily videos about all kinds of stuff, a lot of it trans related. But if you would rather just catch my gaming content, I did just make a new channel. It's called Zoella Games Good. Yeah, Zoella Games Good. You should go check it out. I'm going to be trying to post videos up there as often as I can, especially if you guys go and support it. But without further ado, let's get started talking about this story. So I'm going to be talking about the story. It's going to kind of be all over the place because I haven't really broken it down as much as I would like to because I am kind of running out of time to get this video made. But basically, just to kind of give a brief summary, I am going to be reading off the screen, so just bear with me. This teacher, he's an elementary school teacher named Byron Tanner Cross. He was, he made a statement regarding respecting trans students' pronouns. He said, and I'm going to link this article as I usually try to do with all of my news-related stuff, but I'm going to read off this quote. My name is Tanner Cross, and I am speaking out of love for those who suffer with gender dysphoria. I love all of my students, but I will never lie to them regardless of the consequences. I'm a teacher, but I serve God first, and I will not affirm that a biological boy can be a girl and vice versa because it's against my religion. So yeah, that's the quote from this Mr. Cross. I think I said he was a phys ed teacher. But yeah, he's a Christian, and he's saying that respecting these trans identified students, respecting their pronouns, is against his religion not being Christianity. And ultimately he was put on administrative leave, I believe. And yeah, he was put on leave, and a judge determined that putting him on leave was extreme and unconstitutional because even if the words were controversial, they were permissible. So the Supreme Court agreed with that determination and reinstated this teacher back into the schools, right? So that's kind of like the overarching what happened of the situation. So I kind of want to I do want to give, before I break this down in the way I'm seeing it, I do want to warn you that I am probably going to come off as biased. Obviously I am a trans woman, so this is something that impacts me, not directly, but this impacts my people. And in addition to that, I was raised Christian, so I understand the background that this teacher is coming with. So yeah, the first thing that stands out is this quote, right? He's saying that he's speaking out of love for those who suffer with gender dysphoria, but because of his religion, he won't respect their pronouns, which seems wrong to me. Because being raised Christian, the main thing of Christianity is supposed to be accepting others, loving others like Jesus would love them, right? And that means even if you disagree that, for example, even if as a Christian you disagree with somebody that's trans, you should still show them respect and show them kindness because that is what Jesus would do. Jesus would use their pronouns even if, at least that's the way I would see it. I don't think Jesus, he doesn't hate anybody. So like, why would he treat people that are trans with that hatred of not giving them the respect of using their pronouns? Because when you use a trans person's pronouns, that's just doing the bare minimum, right? You're not like, it's ridiculous. And like, if you're using the wrong pronouns, that hurts a lot. It hurts trans people to hear themselves referred to as the wrong pronouns. And as a Christian, you don't want to be hurting people. Like, that's not something that you're wanting to do if you're trying to be a good Christian who follows God and all that. You want to show people kindness, and using a trans person, using the wrong pronouns for them is not showing them kindness. Again, it's really pretty simple as far as I'm concerned. And the main thing is, like, again, these are for elementary school kids, so it's a little bit different. But especially when those students grow up, and at a certain point, you can't tell if a woman is trans or cis because they're just a woman. You can be attracted to a trans person and not know they're trans, right? So why would you think that you have to use the pronouns that they were assigned at birth? That doesn't make any sense, because you might not know if you don't know that they're trans. But yeah, I don't know. This story kind of bothered me, and I just kind of want to see what you guys all think. That's kind of my perspective, but again, I do want to approach it from the other perspective as best as I can, because I do have a background in Christianity, so I do kind of understand where he's trying to come from. So basically, I'm not going to get into whether or not the Bible actually is against homosexuality and transgender people. I'm not going to get into that because that is a topic that isn't important enough to this video for me to deal with it right now. But yeah, so obviously there's that, I don't know what the verse is, but there's that verse that says that a man shouldn't lay with another man, but realistically, if you go back to the original, it's a man should not lay with a boy. It's about the one that starts with a P, not homosexuality. But just to play devil's advocate, I would assume this guy is thinking that an elementary school kid, in addition to it just being against his religion, I guess, it's also an elementary school kid, so it's harder to understand that an elementary school kid can understand their gender identity in comparison to, say, an adult, right? Because this elementary school kid, you're probably thinking, hasn't lived enough of their life to know what, like, they don't know that much about themselves. But in reality, in reality, you know from a pretty early age if your gender identity, not always, like, I didn't recognize it, but like I could look back now and be like, I knew, I just didn't know that I knew. Because like in elementary school, I was wearing dresses, like, and playing dress up. That's not a typical male behavior. And if it were just doing that, that'd be one thing, but wanting to do that more than any other activity, like, that was my favorite thing to do as a kid. I would still do other stuff, but like, that was when I was the happiest and when I was having the most fun. And that just kind of shows that, like, this was something that's been around my entire life. Whether I realized it at the time or not, it was there. So these elementary school kids, they might not know yet all the time, but when they do know, it's even more important that you show them that respect that they need in order to save them from the trauma of having to relearn everything about themselves. Like, constantly I'm having to, not as much now because my brain kind of just snapped into place, I guess, but like early on in transition, I had to figure out if I was doing something, was it because I wanted to do it, or was I doing it because I felt like I was supposed to do it? And that's where a lot of my interests really changed. But that's pretty much all I want to talk about this topic. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear some differing opinions. I tried to get both perspectives, but it's just so hard to argue against respecting somebody's pronouns to me. I just don't understand. Like, it's one thing to not want to refer to them as, like, to not recognize them as that thing, as that gender, but using their pronouns is a simple thing. It's super small. It doesn't take that much effort. But yeah, I tried. It didn't really work. I've realized, but I did my best. But if you haven't made it this far, make sure to leave me a like and subscribe, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Peace.